The words echo like a whisper across time, and if you let them settle, you'll feel the tremor of their truth. Because right now, in this very moment, you've been told 1,000 ways that manifestation is complicated, wrapped in rituals, bound by effort, locked behind formulas. But the truth is far simpler, so simple that almost no one believes it. And that disbelief is what keeps them running in circles, chasing shadows in a world built on light. You live inside a field, an infinite ocean of frequency, vibration, and possibility. In this field, there is no struggle, no distance, no delay. And yet most people treat manifestation like a war with their own lives, forcing affirmations they don't believe, pushing against outcomes they secretly doubt, grinding their nervous systems into exhaustion. They try to move matter with matter, but here's the secret the quantum whispers in this realm. Forcing is friction. Think of it, 99.999% of the atom is energy, not substance. That means the world you clutch at, the world you fear, is solid, is almost entirely invisible field. What your senses call real is less than a fraction of what actually exists. The rainbow you see is only a sliver of the spectrum. The rest is hidden, humming, waiting for your signal. Reality is a hologram, a projection of light bouncing off stability. But the source is not in the object. It is in the field that gives rise to it. And so, manifestation is not about effort. It's about clarity. It's not about clawing at outcomes. It's about becoming the signal. The quantum doesn't speak in words or wish lists. It listens to coherence, to alignment, to the rhythm of your state. When your thoughts pull one way, your emotions pull another, and your actions scatter in a third. The field hears only noise. But when your whole system hums in one frequency, the field bends toward you with precision. This means letting go of who you think you are, because your body is not you. Your possessions are not you. Your relationships, your job, your history, your name, all scaffolding. To create from the field, you must dismantle the scaffolding and step into the space beyond identity. From somebody into nobody. From something into nothing. From somewhere into nowhere. From a story into silence. And in that silence, the world dissolves. Earth fades. The sun and stars dim. Galaxies vanish into the background hum, until all that's left is awareness, itself pure, unbound, radiant. This is the threshold. This is where manifestation begins. Not with what you demand from the world, but with what you become in the absence of everything. Here, in the nothing, is the field, and the field is waiting. The silence you stepped into at the close of the last section is not empty. It is alive, shimmering with possibilities. That nothing is not absence, it is fullness, a fertile space where every outcome already exists, suspended as potential. Imagine standing before an infinite ocean where each ripple is a different reality, a different future, waiting for a signal strong enough to collapse it into form. This is the quantum field, the stage on which manifestation plays out. And yet, most people walk past this ocean without ever dipping a hand in. They remain locked in the surface world, convinced the solid objects around them are the source of reality. But matter is the echo, not the origin. It is the afterimage of a deeper process. The true origin is the field itself, that invisible web of frequency connecting all things. When you understand this, a radical shift happens. You stop trying to change the echo, and you begin to send a clearer signal into the source. Consider how a radio works. The music is not inside the box. The radio simply tunes itself to a frequency that is already flowing through the air. Likewise, manifestation is not about creating from scratch. It is about tuning your inner signal, your thoughts, emotions, and embodied state to the frequency of the timeline you wish to inhabit. The song is already playing. Your task is to match the station. This is why the quantum field is sometimes called a field of infinite possibility. It doesn't hold just one future, it holds them all. Success and failure, abundance and scarcity, love and loneliness. Every version of you already exists in this ocean as a wave of probability. But here's the crucial point: the wave does not collapse into lived reality until it meets a coherent observer, until focus enters the equation, until you think about it this way. Each moment, the field presents countless branching paths. The version of you that hesitates is real. The version of you that leaps forward is real. The version of you that gives up and the version that keeps going both are present as shimmering possibilities. But whichever one you embody with your attention, emotion, and presence, that is the one that crystallizes into matter. Your focus is the sculptor. Your coherence is the chisel. And yet coherence cannot be faked. You cannot simply shout, "I believe," while your nervous system trembles with fear. You cannot plaster a smile on your face while your heart contracts in scarcity. The field reads not the mask, but the signal beneath it. That's why so many rituals and affirmations feel hollow. The words say one thing, but the energy says another. And the field, precise and neutral, mirrors the energy every time. This is where simplicity becomes both liberating and unnerving. You don't need complicated rituals. You don't need endless techniques. What you need is alignment. Thoughts, emotions, and actions moving as one. When that alignment hums, the field responds with astonishing speed. When it fractures, the field mirrors chaos back to you. Let's bring this down from the abstract. Imagine you want to manifest a career breakthrough. You can write affirmations, visualize success, and speak about abundance, but if underneath it all your body is braced for rejection, the field feels that contraction. It collapses the wave of not enough, because that is the dominant frequency. Conversely, if you take even one breath of deep trust, allow yourself to embody the calm confidence of "I belong here," and carry that coherence into your actions, you open the wave of success. The breakthrough was always in the field. Your signal simply gave it form. This is why the field of possibility feels both infinite and intimate. It holds galaxies of futures, but it bends specifically to your coherence. You are not a powerless observer watching life happen. You are a participant, an entangled node in the web, shaping reality with every focus and feeling. And once you see this, you stop asking, "Will it happen?" And you begin asking, "What frequency am I broadcasting right now?" Because manifestation is not about summoning something from far away. It is about collapsing the timeline that already vibrates within you. The one where you are whole, the one where you are loved, the one where you are abundant. Those futures exist, shimmering just beyond the threshold of attention, waiting for the signal of your coherence. So as we move forward, carry this image, the quantum field, as a vast mirror, perfectly reflecting the frequency you send into it. If you radiate scarcity, it mirrors scarcity. If you radiate trust, it mirrors trust. The mirror is not cruel, not generous, simply precise. And your task, simple though not easy, is to polish the signal you transmit. Which leads us directly to the next revelation: if coherence is the key, what exactly collapses the wave into form? How does your focus act as the trigger for reality to solidify? To answer this, we must step into one of the most fascinating principles of quantum physics: the observer effect. The mirror of the field reflects whatever signal you send, but the mechanism that turns potential into lived reality is the observer effect. You left the last section standing at the edge of possibility, waves of futures shimmering in the quantum sea. Now imagine that sea rippling endlessly until your focus lands upon one wave. At that instant, probability collapses into actuality. The unseen becomes the seen. This is not abstract theory. It is the very heart of manifestation. At the quantum level, particles don't exist as fixed objects until they are observed. They exist as probabilities, fluid and uncertain, like clouds of potential waiting to crystallize. The act of observation, attention, awareness, focus snaps the wave into form. What once was possibility becomes fact. And in your life, this means reality is not chosen randomly. It is sculpted by the quality of your focus. But here lies the paradox. The observer is not just your conscious mind. You can say, "I want abundance," while your subconscious whispers, "I am not safe." And the field listens more to the whisper than to the shout. This is why so many feel trapped. They aim their conscious mind at one future, but their subconscious continues collapsing waves, aligned with fear, scarcity, or struggle. Consider the last time you desperately wanted something. Maybe you repeated affirmations, created vision boards, tried to hold your attention on the desired outcome, but inside your body hummed with doubt. Your breath was shallow, your stomach tight, your thoughts scattered. In that state, which signal was stronger, the words or the vibration beneath them? The field mirrored the vibration. It always does. This is why manifestation is less about what you think and more about how you attend. Attention is not simply mental, it is embodied. It includes the way your chest expands when you breathe, the way your nervous system regulates in moments of stress, the way your emotions ripple through your bloodstream. Observation is full-bodied. Every part of you is an observer, not just the mind. So what does this mean in practice? It means that when you focus from fear, you collapse fearful timelines. When you focus from trust, you collapse abundant ones. When your attention is fractured, part of you believing, part of you doubting, the field receives a scrambled signal and responds with chaos. Coherence is the alignment that strengthens observation into creation. Think of a magnifying glass focusing sunlight. Scattered light warms but does not ignite. But when light is concentrated, when focus sharpens, the same energy sparks fire. Your attention works the same way. Scattered focus produces lukewarm results. Unified focus, aligned with body and heart, ignites transformation. Here's another metaphor. Imagine you are a director on a film set. The script has many possible endings, all written, all available. But whichever scene you choose to shoot today becomes the one the audience eventually sees. The quantum field is the script filled with countless endings. Your observation is the director's choice. The act of focusing your awareness is the camera lens zooming in, making one possibility real while leaving the rest behind. And yet, most people let their focus run on autopilot. They wake up, check their phone, feel a jolt of anxiety, and spend the day observing from fear. They obsess over lack, replay past failures, project worst-case scenarios. Without realizing it, they collapse those very timelines into form. Not because they want them, but because their attention energizes them. The field does not discriminate, it simply reflects. So the question becomes, how can you reclaim your role as observer? How can you focus not from desperation, but from coherence? The first step is awareness. Begin noticing where your attention lingers. Do you dwell on what's missing? Or do you give life to what you love? Do you rehearse old wounds, or do you attune to emerging possibilities? The second step is embodiment. Bring your body into alignment with the focus you choose. If you attend to abundance, practice breathing as though you are already safe, already supported. If you attend to love, let your chest soften, your posture open, your nervous system relax. When your body becomes the observer alongside your mind, the signal grows clearer, stronger. And the third step is consistency. The field responds to the frequency you repeat. A single moment of focus matters, but a sustained signal reshapes timelines. Each time you choose where to place your awareness, you are casting a vote for one reality over another. Those votes accumulate. They shape momentum. They bend probability toward form. The observer effect, then, is not just physics, it is practice. It is remembering, moment by moment, that your attention is the brush painting reality. What you linger on grows. What you focus on collapses from potential into form. And when your whole system, mind, heart, body attends with coherence, reality bends more swiftly than you ever imagined. But there is still a hidden complication. Even when you intend to focus clearly, your subconscious can hijack the lens, pulling your attention back into fear, scarcity, and survival. To truly master the observer effect, you must learn to uncover and transform the hidden broadcasts that run beneath your conscious awareness. And that takes us into the next layer of the quantum game, the subconscious broadcast. You just saw how focus collapses the wave into reality. But here's the twist. The observer is not only your conscious awareness. The subconscious mind is also watching, also broadcasting, and its signal is often stronger than the words you speak or the visions you imagine. As we step deeper, remember this. The field mirrors your dominant frequency, not your fleeting intention. And much of that dominant frequency is generated below the surface, in the hidden programs of your subconscious. Think about how much of your life runs on autopilot. Neuroscience tells us that up to 95% of your daily thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are habitual. They're not freshly chosen, they're recycled patterns. If those patterns hum with fear, scarcity, or doubt, then that is the vibration the field receives most consistently. And no matter how many times you say, "I am abundant," if your subconscious is still braced for survival, the wave collapses into the old reality you've always known. The subconscious doesn't speak in words. It speaks in sensation. It speaks in stored emotion, muscle memory, nervous system reactions. If you grew up in an environment where love felt conditional, your subconscious may broadcast unworthiness every time you get close to intimacy. If your history taught you that money comes with struggle, your subconscious may broadcast tension every time you try to rest into abundance. These broadcasts hum in the background, shaping your signal whether you realize it or not. This is why so many people feel frustrated. They study manifestation, repeat affirmations, visualize outcomes, and yet their life remains stubbornly the same. On the surface, they are trying to focus on abundance, but underneath, their subconscious observer keeps collapsing timelines of lack. The field listens to both levels, and the deeper signal usually wins. Imagine your subconscious like a radio tower sending out constant frequencies. You might try to override it with conscious effort, like shouting over static. But until you retune the tower itself, the noise drowns out the message. Alignment, then, is not just mental. It is a recalibration of your whole system, down to the subconscious programs that shape your baseline state. So how do you work with this hidden broadcast? First, by noticing. The subconscious reveals itself through patterns. Look at the repeated loops in your life, the same relationships ending the same way, the same financial ceilings, the same emotional triggers. These are not random. They are signals of the subconscious observer collapsing the same wave again and again. Second, by feeling. Subconscious broadcasts live in the body. They surface as tension in the chest, knots in the stomach, restlessness in the breath. When you try to affirm abundance but your body clenches, that is the subconscious saying, "This doesn't feel safe." Instead of overriding that sensation, meet it. Breathe into it. Soften around it. When the body feels safe, the subconscious begins to release its old broadcast. Third, by repatterning. This doesn't mean forcing new thoughts, but embodying new states. Practice small daily acts that send your system the signal of safety, love, abundance, whatever frequency you choose. Over time, the subconscious learns that it is safe to collapse different waves. The hidden observer starts broadcasting a new signal, and the field responds accordingly. Let's use an example. Suppose you want to manifest deeper love. On the surface, you visualize partnership. You write affirmations, you script the future, but your subconscious still hums with, "I will be abandoned." Each time intimacy approaches, your body tenses. That tension is the observer collapsing a timeline of distance, not closeness. The shift happens not when you force love to arrive, but when you train your nervous system to feel safe in connection. When your subconscious begins broadcasting safety, the field mirrors that with relationships that feel secure, or take abundance. If you grew up hearing money is hard to come by, your subconscious may collapse timelines of struggle no matter how many affirmations you say. The shift comes when you embody ease in small ways, allowing yourself to rest without guilt. Practicing generosity even when the numbers look small, teaching your body that abundance feels normal. Then the subconscious starts broadcasting a new baseline, "I am safe with flow." The field, precise as ever, mirrors that. This is why the subconscious broadcast is not an obstacle, but an invitation. It shows you where your system is out of coherence, where your deeper observer is collapsing waves you don't consciously want. And by working with it, not against it, you become capable of sending a clearer, stronger signal into the field. So remember, you don't manifest only from the mind you control. You manifest from the mind you barely notice. The subconscious is the silent observer shaping your world in every moment, which means the work of manifestation is not about overpowering your hidden broadcasts, but about integrating them. When your conscious desires and subconscious patterns hum together, coherence amplifies. The field responds, timelines shift, and there's a deeper level still. If the subconscious is this powerful, imagine what happens when another center of intelligence, the heart, enters the equation. The heart's electromagnetic field dwarfs the brain's, and when it pulses in harmony with the mind, the broadcast multiplies in strength, which leads us directly into the next revelation, the power of heart-brain coherence. From the subconscious broadcast, we move naturally to the heart, the one center that can amplify or distort your entire signal. Because if the subconscious is the hidden observer, the heart is the amplifier, the great transmitter whose field extends far beyond your skin. Science has shown that the electromagnetic field of the heart is not just a metaphor, it is measurable, radiating several feet outward, powerful enough to influence the rhythms of those around you. When this field synchronizes with the brain, coherence emerges, and coherence is the purest language the quantum field can hear. Picture this. Your brain generates thoughts, images, beliefs. Your heart generates emotion, rhythm, vibration. When these two centers are out of sync, when the brain says one thing, but the heart beats another, the field receives a broken message, fragmented and weak. But when your heart and brain pulse together in harmony, the signal becomes unified, stable, magnetic. That is the state that collapses the wave with precision. Think of coherence like a choir. A single voice may waver, but when every voice sings in harmony, the sound fills the room, undeniable and resonant. Your brain alone is a soloist. Your heart alone is another. But together, coherent, they become a chorus that the field cannot ignore. The vibration magnifies, the probability waves collapse swiftly. and reality reshapes itself around your unified state. You've experienced glimpses of this, whether you noticed or not. Remember the times when everything seemed to flow effortlessly, when opportunities arose at just the right moment, when synchronicities stacked up like breadcrumbs on a trail. Chances are, in those moments, your brain and heart were aligned. Your thoughts carried clarity. Your emotions carried trust. Your body felt open. The signal was coherent, and the field mirrored it with grace. Now, consider the opposite. Times when you thought about success but felt unworthy. Times when you wanted love but your heart closed in fear. Times when you affirmed health but your nervous system braced for illness. In those states, the brain and heart were sending opposing signals. The result, static. The field reflected confusion back to you, not because it is punishing, but because it is exact. Here's the secret: coherence can be cultivated. You don't need to wait for life to line up perfectly to feel it. You can practice coherence deliberately, and each time you do, you strengthen your ability to manifest with clarity. Start with breath. Slow, steady, rhythmic breathing begins to synchronize the nervous system. The heart rate smooths into a balanced rhythm, and the brain waves start to follow. Breath is the bridge between the two centers, aligning them into a shared frequency. Then add gratitude. Not forced positivity, but genuine gratitude, a felt sense of appreciation in the body. Gratitude expands the chest, softens the breath, opens the heart. When gratitude pulses through you, the brain no longer churns with fear. It harmonizes with the heart's rhythm. Together, they generate coherence. Finally, bring focus. Direct your attention to an image or intention that feels aligned. Allow your heart to feel it, your breath to embody it, your mind to hold it with steadiness. Now brain, heart, and body hum as one. That is coherence. And the field responds to it like a tuning fork vibrating into the fabric of reality. Let's ground this in an example. Imagine manifesting a new home. If you think of it only in terms of numbers and logistics, your brain is active, but your heart may not be engaged. The field hears an incomplete signal. If you daydream emotionally without structure, your heart feels it, but your brain doubts. Again, incomplete. But if you breathe into gratitude, envision the space, feel the safety and warmth of being there, and allow your thoughts and actions to align with that vision, brain and heart resonate. The signal is whole, and the wave collapses with greater ease. Coherence is not about perfection. You will wobble, you will doubt. But each time you return to alignment through breath, gratitude, and embodied presence, you amplify the signal. Over time, coherence becomes your baseline, and manifestation becomes less about effort and more about resonance. And coherence has another gift. It connects you not only to your desires, but to others. When your field radiates coherence, it entrains the people around you. Their nervous systems subtly align with yours. This is why one calm person can settle a room, why one joyful presence can lift a gathering. Coherence ripples outward, shaping not just your timeline, but the collective field you share. So now you see the heart is not just a metaphor for love. It is a transmitter, a guide, a magnet. When it unites with the brain, coherence becomes your superpower. And from coherence arises the next step in the journey, embodiment. Because knowing is not enough. Feeling is not enough. Only when you live coherence as a practice moment by moment does manifestation shift from concept to reality. From the resonance of heart and brain moving as one, the natural bridge is embodiment. Because coherence is not a momentary trick. It is a lived state. It is not something you touch once and then forget. It is something you breathe, move, and walk into daily. If the quantum field listens not to your words, but to your vibration, then the question becomes, how do you train your whole being to become the signal you want the field to mirror? The answer is embodiment. Embodiment means you stop treating manifestation as an intellectual game and start living it as a physical practice. Too often, people treat alignment as an idea, something to think about, something to visualize, something to affirm, but the field is not convinced by ideas alone. It reads the totality of your broadcast, your posture, your breath, your nervous system, the rhythm of your emotions, the way you walk into a room. If your body is broadcasting fear, the field will mirror fear, no matter how many positive sentences your mind strings together. This is why embodiment matters. Imagine a tuning fork. When it vibrates, it doesn't argue, it doesn't explain, it simply resonates. The environment around it either matches its tone or falls out of phase. Your body is that tuning fork. When you embody a frequency through your breath, your gestures, your way of resting and moving the field, trains to that signal. So how do you embody coherence? Begin with the simplest anchor, your breath. Notice how you breathe when you're anxious, shallow, quick, tight. That breath pattern tells the field you are unsafe, even if your mouth says, I trust. Now notice how you breathe when you're calm, steady, full, balanced. That breath pattern tells the field, I am safe, I am open, I am aligned. Breath is not trivial. Breath is your first broadcast. From breath, move to posture. Your nervous system listens to the shape of your body. Shoulders hunched, chest collapsed, eyes downcast. These shapes say, I expect contraction. The field mirrors contraction. Shoulders open, chest lifted, spine relaxed. These shapes say, I expect flow. The field mirrors flow. You don't need to overthink it. Your body is already speaking on your behalf every moment. Then comes movement. Embodiment is not stillness alone, it is action infused with coherence. Ask yourself in small decisions, how would the version of me who already inhabits my desired timeline act right now? Would they rush frantically or move deliberately? Would they speak in doubt or in trust? Would they hoard energy or express generosity? When you act from that embodied state, even in tiny gestures, you collapse waves aligned with that version of you. This is the secret behind why some people seem to attract what they want effortlessly. They're not forcing, they're embodying. They are living as though the frequency of their desired future is already true. And the field mirrors accordingly. Embodiment becomes their baseline. And coherence is no longer something they chase, it's something they carry. Here's a simple exercise if abundance is your focus. Practice generosity in small, embodied ways. Share attention freely. Offer kindness without calculation. Let your breath expand with the feeling of enough. When your body feels that generosity is normal, the subconscious broadcast shifts, and the field echoes abundance back. If love is your focus, soften your edges. Practice opening your chest when you feel like closing. Offer eye contact, presence, small gestures of warmth. When your body feels safe in openness, the field mirrors it with connection. If health is your focus, treat your body not as broken but as resilient. Breathe gratitude into every system. Move in ways that honor vitality. Rest with reverence. When your body feels honored, the field mirrors vitality. Embodiment also means practicing regulation when you wobble, because you will wobble. Doubt will creep in. Fear will surge. Old timelines will tug. The difference between those who spiral and those who shift is not the absence of wobble, it is the practice of returning. Each time you notice yourself slipping, you take a breath, relax the body, and remind yourself, I can tune back. That return is embodiment in action. And here's the deeper truth. Embodiment is not about perfection, it is about consistency. A coherent state lived even a few minutes each day plants seeds in the field. Those seeds accumulate, those timelines strengthen, and eventually the outer world bends to match the inner practice. The field does not require you to be flawless. It only requires that your signal become coherent enough, often enough, to collapse new realities into being. So let embodiment become your way of walking through the world. Let your breath, posture, movement, and choices speak the frequency you desire more loudly than your words ever could. In time, the field will answer, not because you demanded it, but because you became it. And this prepares us for the next unfolding, because once you see how embodiment shapes your personal field, the natural question arises, how does this play out in the areas of life we care most about: love, abundance, and health? Let's explore how the principles of coherence and embodiment become the hidden forces shaping these everyday timelines. From embodiment as practice, it's only natural to step into the most personal dimensions of life, the ones where manifestation matters most to you. Love, abundance, health. These are the three great mirrors of the quantum field, the arenas where your signal becomes undeniably clear, because you can speak affirmations in theory, but the truth of your broadcast is revealed in the relationships you attract, the flow of resources in your life, and the vitality of your body. Let's begin with love. Love is not something you chase. It is something you radiate. If your body carries unworthiness, if your chest tightens when someone comes close, if your nervous system braces for rejection, then no matter how many vision boards you craft, the field mirrors that contraction. You attract connections that reinforce distance, not intimacy. But when you soften, when you practice openness in the body, when you breathe as though you are safe to be seen, the signal changes. The field reflects love because your embodied state has become love. It's not about finding the one, it's about tuning into the timeline where love is already your frequency. Now, abundance. Money, opportunity, resources, they are not objects to be seized, but waves to be tuned. If you clutch at scarcity, the field echoes scarcity. If you embody generosity, even in small daily gestures, the field echoes abundance. Notice how you behave when you feel not enough. Do you hoard time, energy, or attention? Do you shrink your posture, breathe shallow, move hurriedly? Those are scarcity signals. Flip them, practice spaciousness, share freely, walk as though supported. The numbers in your account may lag, but the field listens first to your frequency, not your balance sheet. The moment you embody enough, the wave of abundance begins to collapse, and health, perhaps the most intimate mirror of all. The body itself is a field, humming with electromagnetic signals, every cell broadcasting coherence or chaos. If you approach your body with judgment, scanning constantly for what's broken, the field amplifies that vibration. If you approach your body with reverence, gratitude, and respect, the field amplifies vitality. This doesn't mean denying illness or ignoring real challenges. It means holding the body in coherence, practicing presence with every breath, moving as though health is not something to demand, but something to express. The field reflects that trust, amplifying resilience. The beauty of these three areas is how they reveal the same principle again and again. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Love mirrors openness. Abundance mirrors generosity. Health mirrors gratitude. When you embody the vibration you seek, the field collapses timelines aligned with that state. Let's make it tangible with scenarios. Imagine someone desperate for partnership. They affirm, "I am loved," but text anxiously. Posture closed, heart armored. The subconscious broadcast is fear, and the field mirrors near connections that fall apart. Another person softens their breath, practices presence, allows small daily acts of openness, meeting strangers with eye contact, offering warmth without expectation. Their field radiates coherence, and connections arise naturally, not forced. That's love mirrored. Or consider abundance. One person scripts wealth affirmations but checks their bank account in panic 5 times a day. The broadcast is scarcity, and the field reflects scarcity. Another practices generosity, giving attention freely, treating themselves kindly, even with little, letting their breath expand into safety. Their body learns abundance as a felt state, and opportunities emerge seemingly out of nowhere. That's abundance mirrored. Health follows the same rhythm. One person obsesses over symptoms, rehearses worst-case scenarios, and bristles with tension. The field mirrors illness not because it is cruel, but because the dominant frequency is contraction. Another treats each breath as a gift, each step as a choice, each night's rest as an offering to resilience. Their nervous system radiates coherence and healing pathways strengthen. That's health mirrored. What ties all of this together is not magic but mechanics. The quantum field listens to signal, not surface. It listens to the vibration beneath your actions, not the words above them. And in love, abundance, and health, the most transformative shift is to embody the state of already having. To breathe, move, and act as though you are living the timeline you desire not someday, but now. This is why these examples matter. They show you that manifestation is not an abstract idea floating above your life. It is the texture of your everyday choices. It is the way you carry yourself when you wake, the way you breathe when you face challenge, the way you soften when you long for connection, the way you give even when you think you have little. These micro-signals accumulate, broadcasting louder than any vision board or mantra ever could. And yet, even with this clarity, there is one trap that pulls people back again and again, the trap of control, the need to force, to grip, to micromanage outcomes. It is the very frequency that blocks the field from responding, which is why we now must turn to the next great lesson, how to release control and step into the paradoxical freedom of surrender. You've just seen how love, abundance, and health respond to the frequency you embody. And yet, for many, the signal collapses before it can stabilize. Why? Because even after practicing openness, generosity, and gratitude, a subtle grip creeps back in, the grip of control. This is the trap that ensnares so many seekers, the belief that by managing every detail, forcing every outcome, and monitoring every sign, they can bend reality faster. But in truth, this grip does the opposite. It broadcasts mistrust, and the field mirrors mistrust right back. Control is seductive. It tells you that vigilance equals safety, that effort equals worth, that the more you push, the more you'll receive. This conditioning runs deep from childhood. You were taught that success comes through struggle, that effort must be earned, that worth must be proven. So when you approach manifestation, you carry that same programming. If I don't grip tightly, it will slip away. But here's the paradox in the quantum field. Gripping creates resistance. It signals lack of faith. It collapses timelines of delay. Picture someone scripting affirmations about abundance, then checking their bank balance 10 times a day. Every glance is a silent broadcast, I don't believe it's here yet. Or someone yearning for love, refreshing their dating apps obsessively, scanning messages for proof of connection. Each action vibrates mistrust. It hasn't arrived, so I must chase. Or someone seeking health, examining every symptom with dread, reading their body as a constant problem, the signal fear, not wholeness. The field listens, it reflects, The control trap can be compared to clutching a steering wheel with white knuckles on a winding road. Your body tires, your focus narrows, and you overcorrect every movement. The ride becomes jerky, exhausting. But if you loosen your grip, breathe, and allow the car's alignment to carry you, the journey smooths. Life works the same way. Loosen your grip, and flow takes over. This doesn't mean passivity. The control trap is not solved by doing nothing. It is solved by shifting the quality of your action from frantic to aligned, from grasping to trusting, from efforting to embodying. In other words, you act but without attachment. You move but without desperation. You direct but without micromanaging. The paradox is that surrender does not stop momentum, it accelerates it. Consider the metaphor of planting a seed. You place it in the soil, water it, and ensure it has sunlight. But if you dig it up every day to check if it's sprouting, you kill the process. The field is the soil. Your embodiment is the seed. Your trust is the water. When you grip, you disturb the growth. When you trust, you allow the natural unfolding. This trap also reveals why manifestation often feels delayed. It is not because the field resists you. It is because your signal is contradictory, affirming abundance but vibrating scarcity, declaring love but broadcasting mistrust, affirming health but embodying fear. Control fractures coherence. The field, precise and neutral, mirrors the fracture. So how do you escape the control trap? Begin by noticing where you are gripping. Where in your life are you micromanaging reality? Where are you rehearsing worst-case scenarios, scanning for proof, or obsessively monitoring outcomes? Each of these habits is a silent declaration. I don't trust the field. Awareness is the first release. Then, practice loosening by degrees. You don't need to surrender everything at once. Start by loosening 10%. Check your balance one less time. Pause before refreshing that message thread. Take one deep breath before scanning your body for symptoms. That 10% creates space, and space is coherence. Next, replace control with coherence practices. Breathe into trust. Move your body as though supported. Speak as though aligned. Each time you choose coherence over control, you strengthen the signal. Eventually, surrender becomes natural, not forced. And finally, remember that the field is exact. It is not withholding. It is not testing you. It is mirroring. When you grip, it reflects the timeline of gripping. When you trust, it reflects the timeline of trust. Your job is not to force the mirror, but to shift the face you present to it. The truth is that control is rooted in fear, while surrender is rooted in power. Control says, I don't believe it will happen unless I push. Surrender says, it is already happening, and I will align. And the field listens not to your words, but to the quality of your vibration, which leads us to the next vital piece of the journey: how to regulate your emotional state when fear and doubt inevitably surge. Because no matter how aligned you become, life will test your coherence. You will wobble. The difference lies not in never wobbling, but in how you return. That return, the practice of emotional fluency, is the next step. You've just seen how the grip of control broadcasts mistrust and collapses timelines of delay. But even if you loosen your hold, even if you practice coherence, there will still be moments when old patterns pull you back. Doubt creeps in, fear rises like a tide, and suddenly the signal wobbles. This is not failure, it is human. The difference between staying stuck and shifting reality lies not in never wobbling, but in how you recover when you do. That recovery is emotional fluency. Most people misunderstand manifestation because they assume it means feeling good all the time, maintaining perfect positivity, never doubting. never fearing. But the field does not demand perfection. It demands coherence. And coherence is not the absence of emotion. It is the capacity to integrate emotion without being hijacked by it. Emotional fluency is the ability to ride the waves of feeling, to let fear surface without letting it dictate your frequency, to let grief move without collapsing into despair. Think of coherence like tuning an instrument. Even the finest violin drifts out of tune when the weather shifts. The strings tighten. The pitch wavers. Does the musician panic? Smash the instrument or give up? No, they tune again. Your nervous system works the same way. Stress, triggers, or uncertainty pull you out of tune. Emotional fluency is the art of tuning back, gently but consistently, until your signal rings clear again. How do you practice this? Start with awareness. Notice your wobble without judgment. Too often, people layer shame on top of fear. I'm failing at manifestation because I feel anxious. But the shame itself becomes the louder signal. Instead, simply notice my signal has shifted. Awareness interrupts the loop. Then, breathe. Slow, deliberate breaths regulate the nervous system and begin to restore coherence. Place a hand on your chest. Feel your heart rhythm. Let the breath smooth the edges of panic or contraction. This simple act tells your body, we are safe. The subconscious observer hears this and softens its broadcast. Next, name the emotion. This is fear. This is doubt. Naming disarms the spiral. It reminds you that emotion is not identity, it is a wave passing through. The field does not require you to avoid waves. It requires you to stabilize the vessel. Naming is an anchor. After naming, choose embodiment. Ask yourself, what would the version of me who already lives in my desired timeline do right now? Would they spiral endlessly into fear? Or would they take one small step in trust? Perhaps they would stand taller. Breathe deeper. Take one aligned action. Even the smallest embodiment recalibrates your signal. The field responds not to perfection, but to direction. Emotional fluency also means allowing emotions to complete their cycle. Suppressed fear hums louder than acknowledged fear. When you try to bypass your emotions with forced positivity, the subconscious keeps broadcasting the suppressed frequency. But when you allow yourself to feel, cry, shake, journal, breathe, you complete the loop. The energy moves. Coherence returns. Consider a real-world example. Imagine someone manifesting love. They open to connection, then feel rejected when a text goes unanswered. The wobble hits fear of abandonment surges without fluency. They spiral into mistrust, broadcasting I am unworthy, collapsing that timeline with fluency. They pause, breathe, name the fear, let the emotion move, and then choose an embodied action, opening their chest, softening their posture, reminding themselves they are already whole. The field mirrors the recalibration, not the fear, or imagine abundance. You practice generosity, then receive an unexpected bill. Fear spikes, I'll never have enough. Without fluency, you grip, broadcast scarcity, collapse the wave of lack. With fluency, you breathe, acknowledge the fear, allow it to move, and then take one small action from trust, perhaps paying what you can calmly, perhaps practicing gratitude for what remains. The field mirrors trust, not panic. This practice is not glamorous. It is quiet, daily, repetitive, but it is the difference between looping old timelines and collapsing new ones. Each time you wobble and return, you strengthen your resilience. You prove to yourself and to the field that your coherence is not fragile. It is living, flexible, adaptive, and here lies the deeper truth. Manifestation is not about eliminating emotion. It is about mastering rhythm. Fear will visit, doubt will whisper, but if you can ride the waves, return to coherence, and embody your chosen frequency, you become unshakable. You stop waiting for conditions to stabilize before you feel safe. You become the stabilizer. This is the power of emotional fluency. It transforms wobble into wisdom. Each recovery is a recalibration. Each return deepens your mastery. The field doesn't punish you for wobbling, it reflects your return. And when you can return quickly, consistently, and gently, the timelines you choose collapse more swiftly. From here, the journey widens again, because as you cultivate emotional fluency within yourself, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Your signal doesn't just affect your personal field. It interacts with the signals of those around you. And when coherence spreads through groups, communities, and relationships, it amplifies exponentially. This takes us to the final great revelation before the close, the power of community and collective resonance. From the practice of emotional fluency, where you learn to ride your own waves and recalibrate coherence, a new horizon opens. You begin to sense that your signal is not contained within your skin. It radiates outward, brushing against the signals of others. And just as a single tuning fork can cause another to vibrate at the same pitch, your coherence influences the collective field. This is the realm of community and resonance, where manifestation is no longer a private act, but a shared frequency. Science hints at this in subtle ways. The electromagnetic field of the heart extends outward, measurable beyond the body. Brainwaves entrain when people spend time together, synchronizing rhythms unconsciously. Emotional states ripple through groups, shaping collective mood. None of this is mystical exaggeration, it is resonance at work. And when resonance amplifies across a community, the signal to the field magnifies. Think of times you felt this. A concert where the crowd sings in unison, and your body vibrates with something larger than yourself. A meditation circle where silence deepens into a palpable stillness. A gathering where joy spreads contagiously, laughter cascading until everyone glows. These are glimpses of collective coherence. When individuals align, the group becomes more than the sum of its parts. And the field listens. Community, then, is not just social, it is quantum. The people you surround yourself with are co-creators of your signal. If you spend your days among those radiating scarcity, fear, and contraction, your nervous system entrains to their frequency. Your subconscious broadcasts join theirs, and the field mirrors that collective vibration. But if you immerse yourself in a community of trust, expansion, and coherence, your signal strengthens. You no longer wobble alone, you are stabilized by the group. This is why it matters so deeply to curate your environment, not in a judgmental way, but in a conscious way. Who you let into your field matters. What conversations you feed on matters. The media, the voices, the spaces you inhabit, each shapes your signal. And when you choose wisely, aligning with those who practice coherence, you amplify one another. Here's the beauty: collective resonance doesn't erase individuality. It refines it. Imagine a jazz ensemble. Each musician plays their own instrument, their own notes, but together they create harmony. The coherence is not uniformity, it is resonance through diversity. In the same way, a coherent community doesn't require everyone to be identical. It requires alignment of intention, vibration, and openness. Together, the field amplifies. And this amplification is not only personal, it ripples outward into the larger collective. A single coherent group can shift the energy of an entire room, an entire workplace, even an entire society. History shows us movements sparked not by lone individuals, but by aligned communities, voices harmonizing, frequencies multiplying until change became inevitable. The same mechanics apply at the quantum level when coherence spreads. Timelines collapse not just for individuals, but for the collective. So ask yourself, what communities are you entangled with? Are they mirroring trust or fear, expansion or contraction? Do they lift your signal or fracture it? And equally important, what signal do you bring into those communities? Because resonance is reciprocal. You influence and are influenced in return. This is why collective practice matters. Meditating together, breathing together, sharing intentions together, these are not symbolic rituals. They are acts of quantum resonance. They amplify coherence, stabilize wobble, and broadcast a stronger signal into the field. Alone, your signal can shift your personal timeline. Together, your signals can shift reality on a larger scale, and yet the heart of this revelation remains intimate. Because when you realize you are entangled with others, you stop seeing yourself as a lone seeker, straining to manifest. You begin to see yourself as part of a chorus, a web, a community of frequencies co-creating reality. Your personal practice feeds the collective, and the collective stabilizes your personal practice. It becomes a dance of mutual amplification. The field responds accordingly. When groups radiate coherence, waves collapse faster, synchronicities multiply. Doors open in ways no individual could have orchestrated. This is the hidden power of resonance. It turns manifestation from an individual effort into a communal unfolding. And this brings us to the culmination of the journey. Because if the field listens to your vibration, if it mirrors your coherence, if it amplifies through community, then the final truth is inescapable. You are not separate from the field at all. You are the field. Every breath, every choice, every alignment is not just influencing the web, it is the web, the observer, the observed, the wave, the collapse. They are all you, which sets the stage for our final descent, the wind down. There, we will soften the cadence. Echo this truth one last time and invite you to carry a single frequency forward, not as theory, not as wish, but as lived embodiment. Because in the end, manifestation is not about becoming something else. It is about remembering that you are already entangled with everything you seek. From the chorus of community and the recognition that you are not outside the field but of it, the journey begins to soften. The intensity gives way to clarity. What remains is a simple truth echoing across everything we've explored. The quantum field is not out there, waiting for you to master it. It is in you, through you, as you. You are not just a participant, you are the wave and the observer, the signal and the mirror. Let this land gently. You don't need to force it, prove it, or perfect it. The power of manifestation has never been about rigid control or endless effort. It has always been about coherence thoughts, emotions, actions, and body humming in alignment. It has always been about living the frequency first, allowing the field to respond as a reflection, not as a reward. So what does this mean for you, right here, right now? It means that manifestation is not a future event. It is not waiting for the evidence to arrive. It is the breath you take in this moment, the posture you inhabit, the signal you embody. Each choice, each thought, each sensation is already shaping the timeline you walk. And perhaps most importantly, you are not alone in this. Every coherent breath you take contributes to the collective resonance. Every moment you embody love, gratitude, trust, or abundance, you ripple that vibration outward, entangling with others, amplifying possibility. The field listens not only to individuals, but to the chorus of humanity, and your voice matters in that harmony. So as we close, let me invite you into something simple yet profound. Choose one frequency, just one. Maybe it's trust, maybe it's ease, maybe it's joy. Let it be a thread you carry forward into your day, your week, your life. Each time you breathe, each time you act, weave that thread into your being. The field will mirror it, amplify it, dance with it. Because at the end of it all, manifestation is not about chasing a distant life. It is about remembering you are already entangled with the reality you desire. You are the field. You are the signal. And the timeline you seek is already waiting for you to live it.